You're listening to Horsemanship, Growth, and Gratitude with Miranda and Horsemanship, where we discuss training wins and fails, mindset, personal growth, and everything in between. So grab your favorite cup of coffee or reins and let's ride. Hey there, and welcome to the very first episode of Horsemanship, Growth, and Gratitude with me, Miranda Allen. This isn't a podcast about being perfect. It's about learning, growing, and showing up both in and out of the arena. So I thought, as part of an icebreaker to start the whole thing off, let's kick it back to a little funny story about ego, humility, and a hot pink rope halter. When I was 18, we were in that time period where everyone was told, you need to go to college. It doesn't matter what you get. You just need a college degree to get a good job. Well, I knew I always wanted to train horses and to live out west where the real cowboys were, preferably in Montana. So my mom got to researching and found a college that was actually in Montana that offered some sort of degree in natural horsemanship. So I was like, well, duh, that's a no-brainer. So I applied. Now, the funny part, one of them, is looking back, I didn't even know what natural horsemanship really was at the time. I knew I liked watching Clinton Anderson on RFD TV, and he was kind of categorized in natural horsemanship. So I just assumed, okay, that's kind of along the lines of what it is. And I'm a good rider. I like Clinton. It's Montana. So of course it's perfect for me. Now, when I say I applied, I only applied to Montana Western. I didn't apply to any other colleges. And I guess that was just my teenage version of burn the boats moment. But I knew in my heart, like, listen, this is Montana or bust for me. And when I did get accepted in the program, which I was not surprised because, duh, the universe wanted this, here's kind of how clueless I was. Here I am getting accepted into this prestigious horsemanship program, and I don't even have a clue what any of this equipment is that I needed. What's a stick and string? What's a rope halter? Why won't my regular halter work? Let alone, I didn't even know how to tie a rope halter, never owned one. So I did what any 18-year-old would do. I printed out a school supplies list and went straight to Clinton Anderson's website and added all the hot pink halters, leads, stick and string to the shopping cart. And yes, for my giant sorrel gelding, sorry, Cutter, and yelled for my mom's credit card. Then we packed up the truck and trailer and headed 1,800 miles away from home where I didn't know a soul. I'll never forget the confidence I carried walking into the class that I got this. I'm a good rider. I got a good horse. I got all my hot pink stuff. Like, this is going to be great. Now, granted, I still didn't know how to tie that pink halter properly. By the end of this first semester, I realized there was a whole new world of horsemanship that I didn't know anything about. That was my first real lesson in humility. I learned very quick that there's a difference between being able to ride a horse and actually understanding one. And that realization changed everything for me. Once I finally set my ego aside and got curious instead of defensive, things started to shift. Not just in my horsemanship, but with everything in my life. Now, I'm not saying that shift fully occurred in the 2 years I was in school. Quite the opposite, actually. More like 2 decades to get to where I'm at now, of understanding that horsemanship isn't just something we do with our horses. It's a way of living. It's about how we handle pressure, how we communicate, how we listen, and how we lead with empathy and clarity, not force. Because trust me, I've been with some horses that you cannot bully them into doing anything. If they are a willing partner, they will run to the moon and back for you. But the second that you think that you're going to force them into doing something, you're going to be eating dirt. Now, I've been blessed to live with some of the highest highs in the horse world, like working under some of the best horsemen in the world while riding world champion horses on multi-million-dollar ranches across the country as an intern. It was incredible experiences. But I've also experienced some of the lowest lows that just included needing a break from horses because my heart was just shattered from tragedy. Now, I have achieved my childhood dreams and then chickened out on actually following through, living them, because I didn't understand at the time that the joy comes from the pursuit, not just crossing the finish line. So no, there was nothing wrong with me that I didn't know what to do next. That caused me to go on to spend years stuck in soul-sucking office jobs in big cities that I absolutely hated and despised, wondering, okay, what happened to that girl who moved out west to chase her passion? Why can't I get back to that? And I've also been the new mom who sold her horse when I got pregnant, wanting to do the right for my family and buy the horse, even if that felt like giving up a part of my soul. And then when I did finally get back around to horses, I found myself suddenly afraid of getting hurt, which taught me that fear can show up in unexpected ways, even when it's something that you love so deeply and it has been such a solid part of your life for over 20 years at that point. The truth is all those highs and lows shaped who I am and who I'm still becoming. And that's why I'm sharing what I do. It's definitely not because I have it all figured out, far from that. These lessons have grounded me, they've humbled me, they've inspired me, and most importantly, they've healed me in ways that I never expected or knew I needed. And if something that I can share helps you, or that you can take something that I teach and you can make it your own and better your life and improve your horse, then that's exactly why I'm here. So you might be wondering after that story, what does horsemanship really mean to me now? As Miranda 2.0, as I call it, how do I approach horse training? I believe in first taking the time to understand the psychology of the horse. Why do they think and act and react the way that they do? Because through this journey, I have become fascinated by studying the psychology of both horses and humans. First and foremost, I love groundwork. I believe that if you can't safely control a horse on the ground, you have no business being on their back. You learn also so much about a horse's personality, how their body moves and performs, their athletic ability. And you're able to also develop a solid relationship that's based on trust and respect, all on the ground. Now, when someone wants to take a lesson from me, I am very clear up front. Like, listen, I am not a riding instructor who's just going to tell you, sit up straight, put your heels down, shoulders back, etc. No, I am a horsemanship coach. Most of the people that I work with are experienced horse owners who realize, hey, I think there's some holes that's causing me to be stuck in this rut. They want to find those missing puzzle pieces to create a stronger foundation. And in return, they want to develop a deeper relationship with their horse. And that is beautiful. I love that for them. That's such a beautiful goal. And my goal is to help them become the trainer that their horse really needs, because the reality is we're all horse trainers. Now, I'm not suggesting that anyone who's ever owned a horse can put up a sign saying, hey, I'm a horse trainer for the public. Trust me, that's the farthest thing from the truth. But what is true is that every time you're in a horse's space, even if it's just grabbing a lead rope, you are influencing their behavior and their actions, which means that you are training them, whether you realize it or not. Now, it doesn't matter if I'm the one who's training my own horse or if I'm giving a lesson to a client on their horse. I have several groundwork exercises that are must know for every horse and rider, and we always start there. Those exercises on the ground are disengaging the hindquarters, vertical flexion, lateral flexion, backing 3 different ways, engaging the forequarters, sending out to lunge, lunging, and desensitization. And here's why. Horses have 5 main body parts. They have the head, the neck, the shoulders, the rib cage, and the hindquarters. You need to not only understand how to work them as individual body parts, but also how to work them together. Then you need to be able to move those body parts forwards, backwards, left, and right, both individually and together. And you need to do this because you influence a horse's mind through moving their feet, but you also control the feet through influencing the mind. And the easiest way to do that is through utilizing the horse's psychology. And groundwork goes back to being the safest and easiest way to get started doing that. Now, I know this may sound overwhelming at first. Like, what do you mean I got to move the feet to move the brain and the brain to move the feet? Trust me, I promise it's not rocket science. Horses are simple creatures who have been evolving for over 55 million years. They are the masters at survival, and they're the masters because they keep it simple. Great horsemanship is all about having a solid foundation that is just simple and consistent. Because when you understand the how and the why, you can learn to communicate with them in a way that is natural and easy for them to understand. And what is easy and natural for them to understand is having a trusted leader who's going to protect them as a prey animal from predators. Simple as that. That's what this podcast is all about. It's about growth and gratitude and the kind of horsemanship that changes not just your horse, but you as a person as well. Now, I'm still learning every day, and I'm so glad that you're here learning with me. This has been a dream and a goal of mine for quite a while to have a podcast, and I'm finally just able to just sit down and do it. So, for future episodes, we're going to talk about everything from groundwork, lesson takeaways that I have, horse psychology, mindset, fear, and just finding joy in the process because it's all connected. And I'm hoping to also do some interviewing as well. So thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of Horsemanship, Growth, and Gratitude. I hope it left you a little more curious and inspired. If you've enjoyed it, I would love for you to follow the podcast and share it with a friend who loves horses as much as you do. And while you're at it, be sure to check out my website. It's mirandaallen.net. Allen is ALLYN.net to stay connected with me, learn more about me, and to follow the upcoming launch of my online course, Essentials of Horsemanship. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day. And remember, horsemanship is always in the details.